What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back to another Four Corners video for today's 5-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. It's an interesting grouping of games in which we should have some offense going around and also one chalk pitcher today. So like the video right now and leave me a comment down below giving me your favorite one-off hitter on tonight's slate, and I will announce the winner of yesterday's little Cole Hamels versus Jake Odorizzi contest, one in which there really were no losers because both guys actually did pretty well. But I will give that special winner of that contest yesterday a shout out at the end of the video. The first corner I want to hit on today is a game with the Phillies visiting the Rockies. The Phillies get 5.4 implied runs, while the Rockies get 5.6 implied runs from Vegas, which is a slate high. A Philly stack of the top 5 looks pretty solid today, going versus left-hand pitcher Kyle Freeland. Andrew McCutchen, Scott Kingery, Bryce Harper, and Rhys Hoskins are all over a 405 on-base percentage to start 2019. JT Realmuto will be a popular option at number 5 to close out the stack, but I do think you can go down to Maikel Franco at number 8 in the order. He's been hitting pretty well with a 357 ISO so far in 2019. Obviously, hitting in cores will help him out even more. I think he's an option people will overlook today, with people likely to just fill the catcher hole with Realmuto. Realmuto also coming off a monster day yesterday. I think Realmuto is fine, but I think if you want to differentiate your lineup, go no Franco is an interesting move to go to. A Colorado stack of Charlie Blackmon, Ramel Tapia, Nolan Arenado, and Trevor Story should be a popular 4-man group today at around 20% ownership on DraftKings. The Rockies are hideously bad versus right-hand pitching so far in 2019 with a 26% K rate, a 205 batting average, and a 36 WRC+. But the top 5 going down to Mark Reynolds are all above a 198 ISO versus righties dating back to last year. I think Zach Eflin's an interesting leverage play with 10.1 Ks per 9 on his side so far this year. And I think, again, the Rockies have just looked so bad versus right-hand pitching this year where you can go to him if you want at some limited amount. I wouldn't go crazy there. But the Vegas total here, being in cores, all supports the Rockies today. So I think you might as well just go with the field. Hope these guys get back on track today. The next corner I want to hit on is a game which we've talked about a few times in the last 2 days, but it's still good today. The Orioles visiting the Rays. The Orioles get 3.2 implied runs today, which are a slate low for a bullpen day against the Rays, while the Rays are getting 5.4 implied runs in their favor at home. So we've now seen both sides of the outcomes here for the Rays, where we had one mediocre day versus Dylan Bundy, one really good day versus David Hess yesterday, at least for a few of the guys. I think the stack here looks strong again, going against Andrew Cashner, who has a slate low 4 Ks per 9 and a 6.27 xFIP, and he's also not really due for any positive regression because these numbers are right in line with his 2018 numbers. So Andrew Cashner, not a good play, and certainly a good play to stack against today with some Tampa Bay Rays. Much like yesterday, I think a lot of people will go to the top 5 today, and the ownership definitely supports that. But guys like Avisail Garcia and Kevin Kiermaier also look good in the 6 and 7 hole for the Rays today. They both have good power and also make good contact. Everyone in the 1 through 5, besides Yandy Diaz, projects for over 20% ownership. So again, it's going to be a highly owned stack if you want to try to differentiate your stack while still capturing that run total and the opportunity versus Andrew Cashner. I think going to guys like Garcia, Kiermaier, to a lesser extent Mike Zunino, those are all fine options. Even Willy Adames at the bottom of the order, he does have some pop and can get some things going. That would be how I'd want to differentiate. I also think it's worth noting Ji-Man Choi projected to be one of the highest owned players on the slate today at 30% ownership. It's going to be a lot of Ji-Man Choi out there, and he had a great day yesterday, but he hasn't been great overall to start the year, so maybe a place to pivot if you are trying to differentiate a stack of the Rays. The next corner I want to hit on is a game with the Dodgers visiting the Brewers. The Dodgers get 4.7 implied runs, while the Brewers get 4.8 implied runs at home here from Las Vegas. A Dodgers stack comes with dangerous hitting across the board here versus Zach Davies. It's a positive hitting environment in Brewer Park. Lefties like Jock Peterson, Cody Bellinger, and Max Muncy look the most appealing to me, with Zach Davies worse versus left-hand hitters, a 1.61 whip versus lefties compared to a 1.11 whip versus righties, so giving it up a little more to lefties. The Dodgers, though, overall as a team have been one of the best hitting teams, actually arguably the best hitting team versus right-hand pitching so far this year, so they can get to Davies in a variety of ways. Again, it's a positive hitting environment. I think Davies is a fine enough player, but the Dodgers are hitting really well and just have a lot of guys with a lot of danger to him across the board, so I wouldn't be inclined to go to much Davies, and I think I like the Dodgers stack quite a bit, and we'll probably get there in a lot of lineups. The Brewers have also been mashing left-handed pitching so far this year with a 308 batting average, a 248 ISO, and a 17.9% K rate. I don't mind Julio Urias in general, but today going against these Brewers I don't think is a great spot. I think he also offers an interesting boomer bust opportunity versus Christian Yelich. So far, in a very limited sample size for Urias, he's had 15.4 Ks per 9 versus lefties, but he's also giving up a very high 11.6 hits per 9. So Christian Yelich just 11% ownership on DK and under 5% projected on FanDuel and Yahoo could be interesting. I think the other guys here, Ryan Braun, Yasmani Grandal, Mike Moustakas, and Jesus Aguilar are all good in a stack too. I think the Dodgers side looks a little bit more appealing to me. I'd rather go with the Dodgers stack and a one-off Yelich personally, but I think you go a variety of ways here. None of them are going to be wrong because both the pitchers here are going to be in for a tough day, I think, with some scoring for me expected on both sides. And the last corner I would hit on today is a game with the Reds visiting the Padres. The Reds get 3.2 implied runs in their favor, while the Padres get 4.3 implied runs in the home game for them in a pitcher favoring park. Now, Tanner Roark for the Reds projects to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate today with 48% projected ownership on DraftKings, 55% projected on Yahoo, and 29% on FanDuel. Roark is due for some positive regression based on his 2018 sample size, but he's been atrocious so far to start 2019. He's allowing 11.7 hits per nine with a 6.7% swinging strike rate and just 6.5% soft contact. So again, if the guy's getting hit, if the guy's not missing bats, there's danger involved here. The Padres not a great hitting team, but they are good enough to do some damage if Roark is going to allow them to make contact and specifically make medium and hard contact. These guys can get on base. They're professional hitters. I think Roark is really overowned today, and the Vegas total doesn't even support him that much, so I'm really not crazy about Roark. I'll definitely be under the field on him. Chris Paddock strikes me as a more interesting option across from Tanner Roark with 3.2 runs against him. He's also had 10.3 Ks per nine so far in 2019, and it's been a limited sample size, but his stuff has looked good. The Reds also so far in 2019 with a 24.9% K rate and a 191 batting average versus right-hand pitching so far. So Paddock a little bit overpriced perhaps, but the stuff is there for him. I think really the concern is he's not going to pitch deep enough. He hasn't thrown over 100 pitches so far this year. They want to protect him. He's a younger arm, but I do think that Paddock has good stuff. I think the spot versus the Reds is good. And I'd rather have him than Roark, even though Roark is significantly cheaper. I think it would be an interesting leverage play to go against Roark today with a Padres stack. They're not great versus right-hand pitching, and a righty-heavy lineup helps Roark out, who's much worse versus lefties. Currently in the projected lineups, they only have one lefty in there, who is Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer looks pretty good despite a cold start to 2019. But either way, though, I do think the righties here for the Padres can pose some danger to Roark. Franmil Reyes, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr. all have ISOs above 230 versus right-hand pitching over the last year and change. Will Myers also not far behind with a 176 ISO. These are guys who can get hits if Roark isn't going to miss bats. These are professional hitters. I think a stack here is an interesting approach. Not one I need to get to a ton, but with that much ownership on Roark, going for some leverage here with a Padres stack just seems like a wise move. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on today's slate. And of course, now it is time for our special shout out. Drum roll goes to this guy, Matthew Rappaport, who guessed correctly that Cole Hamels would be the better pitcher out of him and Jake Odorizzi. Both guys were rock solid though, so I'm happy with how they turned out yesterday. Cole Hamels, his guess of 36.1 fantasy points, close enough. Cole Hamels did have just under 34 fantasy points. There's also one guy who edited his answer, and I don't know that he can count. He was technically the closest, but he may have cheated, so got to go with the guy who didn't edit his answer. And if you are giving a guess today, right now, like this video, leave a comment down below giving me your guess for the best one-off hitter today. If you are correct, you will be the person getting a special shout out, getting all the glory that Matthew Rappaport is getting right now. So good job, Matthew, and good job by whoever gets it right today. So right now, like the video, comment your favorite one-off hitter down below. And check the promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE. It'll get you half off your first month at awesemo.com on any package. You can get an MLB package, get all the ownership projections and rankings. You can also get an all-sport package. You'll be covered for all of the NBA playoffs, which I have a premium column going up every day, which I'll be doing the second I finish this video. NHL playoff content, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, everything you could possibly want with an all-access passes at your fingertips. And again, also get a package with Fantasy Cruncher. Every single package on the site gets you half off with this promo code right here, Switch and Hedge. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so here's hoping Tanner Roark sucks and we can all bask in that glory tomorrow. But otherwise, good luck.